page here. In this video I'll be reviewing set number 76026. This set costs £50 and it's called DC Superheroes Gorilla Grodd Goes Bananas. First minifigure included in the set, and the first minifigure included in the set is the standard Flash from the 2014 set, The Riddler's Racer. And it's the exact same version, which is sort of a shame since that set came out only a year before this one in 2014, this one came out in 2015, and this one's not even updated. They didn't even paint on any boots or change the hands or something to make it exclusive. It's just the exact same Flash minifig. Now don't get me wrong, this is a really cool minifig. I especially like the torso print, which is really well detailed and accurate to the Flash in the comic books and TV show, and the movie which is upcoming, Justice League. And I also really like the helmet and the face prints, but it's the same minifig. I mean, that seems a little bit lazy to me. Still a cool minifig though. So here's the second minifig included in the set, and the second minifig included in the set is a really common grey suited Batman. Now this minifig is really cool, but it's also really common. But the details which I really like about it is the new mask and cowl setup, which you can put sort of things underneath his mouth to add a little bit of extra detail. Plus it's sort of sleeker than the previous one. I mean, I sort of prefer the previous one because it's such an old mould, dating back to 2006 and going all the way through to 2014, and returning in the Lego Batman movies theme. And that one in general looks better, but this one looks a lot more sleek and a lot more intimidating, which is quite cool. I also really like the well-detailed torso print, and that sort of shows a bat belt in shiny chrome gold, and it also has some grey detailing and light grey detailing. And the bat symbol is really big, a bit oversized, but it's okay. The face prints are angry and less angry. And I also really like the cloth cape, but this minifig in general is very common and not very well detailed, apart from the torso and those other features which I pointed out. The third minifig included in this set, and the third minifig is a really cool one, since it's always going to remain exclusive to this set. Since it's such a random character to have in a set, it's so specific to the set, although you could use it in Lego City theme as well. Perhaps use the Banana Suit guy's suit and put it over the top of this guy as sort of a mascot for the Banana Co. company. And I really like this one since it's a regular civilian in a DC superhero set. Now how often do we get that? Well, this is the only time it's happened before or afterwards. So this is really quite cool. And it's a very simple minifig. I mean, it has a really nice torso print, which I really like, which has a sort of peanut butter jelly time banana sort of dancing on the logo, and there's also a sort of jacket with some buttons and a white t-shirt and a yellow shirt over the top of that, and he's wearing dungarees which are blue with the logo, which I pointed out previously, and he has plain blue legs, and he has a scared expression and a combed over hairpiece. The only thing which I dislike about this minifig is that he has no happy expression for when he's saved, so he's constantly scared and yelling. But one thing which I really like about this minifig is that he has back torso printing, which back in 2014 wasn't actually that common, believe it or not, but it is quite nice back torso printing, very well detailed. It says Banana Co, just like the truck that he drives in does, and he also has the dungaree print continued around, with some buttons for the dungarees. In general, this is just a very nice and probably very uncommon minifig. There is the fourth minifig included in the set, and the fourth minifig included in the set is an updated version of the Wonder Woman minifig from 2012. I'd say this is a much improved version. I mean, first of all, there's lots of leg printing which shows sort of a belt, and there's sort of some gauntlet things represented on the legs, and I guess those are more like knee pads, but she also has a sword because this is based off the new 52 version, who has a sword instead of the whip, or lasso of truth I guess. And she also has a shiny silver crown, which I prefer the gold one, but because this one's shiny it does look a bit better. And also the red star is a bit smaller. She also has some sort of printing for the waistline, and she has some printing which sort of shows the metallic armour which she's wearing, sort of here and here on the torso. And there's also some muscle detail right here, which is quite cool as well. Around the back there's not much detail, and it's also covered up by the hair, but the detail that's there is quite good. It shows the armour continued all the way around, a bit more muscle detail here. She also has an angry expression and a smiling expression, but those are nothing new since we saw those in the 2012 version. As well as this hairpiece, but it's been updated slightly, so that is exclusive. The arms are just plain sort of flesh coloured arms, and as I said, she has a sword which is pretty standard. I still wish she had the Lasso of Truth, since that's a better mould, but hey, I guess she has a bit more variance in weapons now. And in general, this is a very cool and very awesome minifig. There's the 5th minifig including a set, which is a minifig of Captain Cold, and I think this version of Captain Cold is exclusive to this set, and I think the character might be, apart from the Mighty Micros version, which is basically just a small version of this version anyway. I have to say, I really like the well-detailed torso print. I mean, it's very simplified, but it's very, very well detailed as well. I really like the detail for the fur sort of going around the coat, and he also has a belt print, sort of like a bat belt, only not a bat belt since he's Captain Cold, so I guess it's a cold belt. I also really like his sort of big massive freeze gun, although I guess that would be for Mr. Freeze, so I guess it's a cold gun instead. He's basically Mr. Freeze, basically. I mean, he's just the Flash's version, who's a bit more cheesy. But anyway, here's the cold gun, or the freeze gun if you want to call it that, and it sort of has a water piece sort of sprouting out, which is meant to represent ice, and it also has some binoculars and a standard Galaxy squad pistol, and it has an attachment for the freeze bit, which has the water piece shooting out, which also has a cylinder piece and a clip to attach it. Now back to the actual minifig, the legs are very plain, there's sort of just a light blue legs, and those are quite cool. It's very plain, and the hood is also quite cool. It's an exclusive hood colour, and that's quite cool. The mould has been seen before, but the colour is quite cool. It's white and light blue, which I don't think we'll get in any other set, which is really quite cool, that's exclusive to a set as of the time of this recording. And he also has some really nice printing around the back, which matches the printing on the front, also shows a bit of muscle detail, and there's also some toggles printed onto the front. And in general, this is a really well detailed yet simplified minifig. I really like Captain Cold's face prints, one of which is angry and has some wrinkles and sort of cheekbones printed on, and he also has some blue goggles which match his colour scheme very well. And the other face print is basically just a happy version of the face print. That one sort of looks a bit smug and is sort of a bit cheesy, but it's also really quite cool as well and matches the character really quite well. Right, so that's really it for this minifig now. The 6th figure in the set, and this figure is actually a big figure instead of a minifig, which is really quite cool. And it definitely scales really well with the minifigs, especially when I look at the comic book version of Gorilla Grodd compared to the other characters in the comics. And it's really well detailed as well. Like most big figs just have an expression, perhaps a muscle or two, and that's pretty much it. This one looks really unique in the shape and design. Like the shape is really quite cool. There's like this fringe here, there's like a bit of tuft of hair up here, there's also some muscles here, and there's also some indents for the toes. And all that's really cool, but the printing is really what makes this minifig really quite unique. Like he's got printing for the snout and the growling expression, he's got some red laser eyes I think, and he's also got a sort of computer system to make him super smart like he is in the comics, and Lego Batman 3 the video game, which he's also included in a slightly different version, but still this version's still quite cool. In fact, I think this version's better than that version. And this version also has some sort of fluff on his chest, which is quite cool detail, and it sort of has a pattern of sort of 1, 2, 3 bits of fluff. And there's also the individually printed toes, which he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 toes on each foot, so that's 12 in total. So that's quite nice intricate printing there. He also has some grey hands to match the general sort of grey accents to this big fig. And around the back there's not that much detail, just a sort of little bit of muscle and a little bit of fur detail. But overall this is a really cool Gorilla Grodd and general Gorilla big fig. So here's the first side build of the set, and the first side build of the set is the Banana76026 truck. Or at least I think it's meant to be a truck, it's sort of a tricycle truck, which is kind of a unique design, which I really like. In general, this thing looks really unique, really bright and vibrant, and sort of breaks up the entire flow of the set. Because most of it's like a serious battle between good and evil, Gorilla Grodd, Flash, Captain Cold, and Batman and Wonder Woman, all having a big epic battle, and then in the middle of it all, it's just this poor scared guy in a banana-mobile. And this is a really cool vehicle. I mean, I really like the blue and white colour scheme in general, and it also has a number plate at the back, which is really quite cool. Just random letters and numbers, 2 red lights, and also the doors can open up. You can open up from the roof to get the minifig out. Admittedly, that sort of takes off the back of the vehicle, so that doesn't look particularly good. Although, one thing which does look really quite good is the Banana760 logo. I mean, it's very simple, but it does have bubble writing and sort of bold text, and it's bright colours, which looks really cool, and matches the look of the vehicle very well. In general, this is just a very silly, yet simple and basic sort of Lego City style of build, and it's really quite cool. It's kind of like a slightly more silly Lego City build, which is really quite a unique design. And I also really like the design on the side here, which is sort of matching the minifig design on the torso. In general, this is just a really awesome and really unique vehicle. It's quite nice to get a civilian vehicle, or sort of company vehicle, in a DC Superhero set, since we don't get that many of those in DC Superhero sets. There's a second side builder set, and this is really sort of a main build size build, but since the main build is slightly bigger, I'll count this as a side build. But anyway, this is the Invisible Jet, and this is a really cool build, although it does have a few flaws with it. Firstly, it's not entirely invisible. I mean, you can clearly see a few white pieces and grey pieces, but that's done for structure, so that's okay. But the main thing is, you can barely just fit Wonder Woman in, and she has no controls, so I have no idea how she controls this. I guess maybe magic or something? But other than that, this is really quite cool. I mean, there's lots of really unique colours of pieces, and new colours of pieces even. Mainly clear pieces, although there's also these two pieces back here, which are sort of clear and fading into sort of blue. So that's a really cool sort of flame piece used for the exhaust. And in general, this just has a really cool look to it. And overall, at some angles, it does actually look invisible, like you can't actually see it. So that's really cool, and a really cool effect represented there. And it's mostly due to all the sort of clear pieces they use. There's also a flick-fire missile system, where you have two flick-fire missiles, one on each wing, and you can just load those in, and then you can just launch them off. Those do detract from the look a little bit because of the grey block here, and also the flick-fire missile sticking out. Also, this is extremely big, so it's kind of hard to put it on a shelf, and plus you can't have it flying, so it doesn't really look that good. But overall, it's pretty good, and it's definitely quite cool, the effect they got where it looks clear. And also it has an opening canopy, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this build. Although one thing which I really don't like is the sort of general shape, which is sort of like a V shape.